Here's your First Warn Weather Forecast First, sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
Our temperature today really did not warm all that much with the ongoing snow showers that continued to push through the state line throughout the daytime. We only made it to 29 in Rockford, 28 in DeKalb, and 30 degrees down in Sterling. We still have some of those steady snow showers that will likely persist well through the night and into the early hours of tomorrow morning. But gradually through the mid-morning hours, we'll see most of that snow come to an end. Temperature tomorrow will make its way back near that 30-degree mark, but we will keep that cloud cover through the afternoon. Clearing overnight will then allow for our temperatures to really start to drop. I'll look at the timing of how long some of these snow showers will stick around through the morning hours and how cold we could get, all coming up in just a little bit.
It's Small Business Saturday, a look into one of those businesses and how this day is crucial for them. And Stroll on State, a look into the festivities that took place today. And weather delays caused by the snow, how it affects travelers trying to reach their destinations.
From Fox 39, this is Eyewitness News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Kelsey Woodall, and thanks for joining us. But before we get into those stories, we head back to the Weather Center, as the state line will still have a winter storm warning going into tomorrow morning. Jordan, what do we need to know?
Well, Kelsey, through much of the evening hours, we have really seen those road conditions deteriorate. That started in the afternoon with some of the steadiest snow that was beginning to fall, and we still have that late into the evening as well. As of 8:30 p.m., the Departments of Transportation in Illinois and Wisconsin reporting completely snow-covered roads. A lot of the snowplows having a hard time keeping up with that steady to even heavy snowfall that has been coming down. That has limited visibility in many spots. Looking at that limited visibility from just a little while ago with many of our Mercy Health SkyTrack cameras across the region. Gradually, though, through the night, we'll start to see some drier air working in from the west. Back behind this edge of precipitation in Iowa, that's going to allow for a lot of that snow to start to wind down, maybe beyond midnight tonight and going through the early part of tomorrow morning. Here's a look at how that will play out with Futurecast. We likely see the steady snow showers persist through midnight and then slowly start to become a bit more scattered as we then head through the early hours of tomorrow morning, and then eventually starting to fizzle out completely by the mid-morning hours of tomorrow. We still hold on to some of those stronger winds, which could allow for some blowing and drifting concerns into the middle of the day tomorrow, but I'll look at the potential for much colder temperatures that then set in coming up in my full forecast in a bit.
Thanks, Jordan. Today is Small Business Saturday. The annual day encourages consumers to shop locally. Eyewitness News reporter Stephen Lewandowski was downtown earlier today, learning about the significance of supporting local businesses.
Black Friday may be over, however, there's still Small Business Saturday. Downtown Rockford is home to many small businesses. Sandy Cohn owns Kith & Kin Art Collective. She says days like these are crucial for her business.
It's really important because we count on these big days like Small Business Saturday, and Black Friday is usually more a corporate day. Really, small business is dependent upon the holidays more than any other time of the year, especially small business retail.
As foot traffic dies down for the winter, holidays like these are all the more important for Cohn's year-to-year revenue.
I've had days where Small Business Saturday has been, a quarter of my entire revenue starting in the holiday periods.
Cohn says days like these can be the difference between staying open and closing down.
The economy's not great, and I think it's becoming more of a matter of survival for a lot of retailers that are, really hoping that this will be the boost that they need to get them through the winter months too.
Cohn says it's not just important for her business, but for the community as a whole.
Every dollar that you spend in your community is economic impact for your community. It's tax dollars that go into your local government. It's experiences for tourists. It's experiences for you to get to know your own town.
Reporting in Rockford for your home team, I'm Stephen Lewandowski.
The Dasher Dash 5K still happened despite the snow. The 5K running or walking race started and finished in Beatty Park in downtown Rockford. The race started at noon and runners were encouraged to dress up and dress warm. The weather did not seem to stop Rockfordians from being downtown for the 5K or for the start of the 13th annual Stroll on State celebration.
I love the stroll on State Street. It's fun. I've been coming. This is my 3rd year, and I wanted to see Santa Claus, and it's nice. And I love the snow.
The Rockford tradition highlighted a ton of holiday festivities, including a parade and the annual tree lighting.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy Stroll, everyone!
Due to the snowfall, the drone and fireworks show were both canceled. The weather is causing major delays and cancellations at both Chicago airports. So far, more than 1,100 flights were canceled at O'Hare, 200 at Midway. WGN's Kristen Flores talks with travelers to see how they're coping.
Please observe the no parking regulations for the upper and lower roadways.
We're traveling to Aruba from Wilmette, and the roads were very bad.
Caitlin Klein and Theo are trading this winter weather for a warmer climate. But before their tropical escape, they braved the roads.
My husband was more worried. He wanted to leave earlier this morning, knowing that the streets weren't going to be plowed. We did go sliding a bit in Winnetka, but we made it safely.
The Chicago Department of Streets and Sanitation deployed more than 220 salt trucks overnight in response to the snow. The Illinois Department of Transportation says they have been pre-treating roads and loading plows with salt and other materials. They'll be deploying more than 1,900 snowplow trucks.
Well, we came in from LAX, so over there was pretty hectic, but it's been pretty smooth for us. We showed up like 4 hours early for no reason, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
Good morning, boarding pass, please.
To add to the headache of delays and cancellations, the People Mover at O'Hare was down. That's the system that takes people from the various terminals, car rentals, and economy parking. Shuttles were made available. Another option was to walk.
After the hustle and bustle of the holidays and Thanksgiving, it's always great to leave after all of that.
Reporting at O'Hare, Christine Flores, WGN News.
Coming up, President Trump takes new steps to crack down on immigration. This is following the National Guard shooting earlier this week.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Kelsey Woodall, Drew Collins, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
President Trump is taking his immigration crackdown even further, as Texas authorities say they arrested an Afghan national who posted a TikTok video indicating he was building a bomb. The man came to the U.S. under an asylum program dubbed Operation Allies, just like the suspect in the D.C. National Guard shooting earlier this week. Authorities are still figuring out the clues for the suspect's motives. Fox News correspondent Dana Marie McNichol has more from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Officials are conducting search warrants and speaking to anyone that might have known the suspect as the investigation shifts into his past, like looking at his life in Afghanistan before he moved to the U.S. in 2021. Officials say 29-year-old Ramanullah Lakanwal was vetted by the intelligence community for his work with the CIA in Afghanistan before being granted humanitarian parole through Operation Allies Welcome. This is a program under the Biden administration that allowed him to settle in Washington state with his wife and 5 kids. He would have also been screened by the Trump administration before receiving asylum earlier this year. Now, what may have motivated him to drive across the country and carry out a deadly ambush remains unanswered. Lakanwal is now facing first-degree murder for the death of 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom, as 24-year-old Andrew Wolf remains in critical condition. Today, a DHS spokesperson confirmed another Afghan national who was paroled into the U.S. under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome. He was arrested for posting a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb intended for the Fort Worth area in Texas.
There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
In response to the shooting this week, the president has directed the State Department to pause giving out visas to people traveling with Afghan passports, as well as hold all asylum decisions until every person is screened. And the president has also directed an additional 500 National Guard members to be deployed in Washington, D.C., as law enforcement in the area just announced that they will be working in close coordination with the troops. In West Palm Beach, I'm Dana Marie McNichol, Fox News.
It really has been a first look at our winter, as it has not stopped snowing today. The snow still will be coming down, and Jordan will tell us his forecast next.
Your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
Steady to heavy snow has been the going trend through much of the daytime on Saturday, and at their highest points, we were seeing snowfall rates up near or just above 1 inch per hour. It wasn't that the entire day, but some of that heaviest snow certainly limiting visibility, and even the most aggressive plow tactics not able to keep up with some of that accumulating snow as it quickly was able to build back up on those treated and untreated surfaces. The last of the snow, though, not too far away out to our west as we head through much of the rest of the evening. Still some of this snow in Iowa to go, but once we get past that, things will be winding down. That will likely start to occur as we head beyond midnight and certainly going into the early hours of Sunday morning. As of 8:30 p.m., all of the roads across the state line were reported to be covered by snow. And the Departments of Transportation in Illinois and Wisconsin both reporting all of those snow-covered roads across much of our state line counties. As we head through the rest of the night tonight, the end of that snow is starting to pull a little bit closer. Beyond midnight, I do think those snow showers that we have now will continue to slowly erode, eventually becoming much more scattered as we head then beyond about 4, 5, and 6 a.m. We still may have to worry about a little bit of lingering lake effect snow, or at least lake enhanced snow pulling our direction. This is the last of it, though. Once that passes down to our south, the accumulating snowfall will come to an end. We may still have a couple of lingering flurries into the mid-morning hours of Sunday, but even a few breaks in the clouds may be possible then for the afternoon. Temperatures will likely warm back up near that 30-degree mark for tomorrow afternoon before really starting to drop Sunday night underneath then a clear sky. Here's what we have going for the rest of the night tonight. Our timeline through about midnight tonight, still looking at that steady snow, but blowing and drifting remains a concern, especially in those open and rural areas. As beyond midnight, our wind direction then turns around to come out of the northwest, and that'll allow for then some more of that blowing and drifting, but possibly in different areas that haven't seen it just yet. Snow will start to taper off through about 6 a.m., and then isolated flurries will likely remain possible then going forward into the early hours of tomorrow, and our winds will likely remain strong at least through the middle of the day tomorrow. We remain underneath that winter storm warning area wide that will run until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, with the potential for some of that blowing and drifting still to occur a bit later. Here as we then head into Sunday, there's a look at that blowing snow still possible. Southeasterly winds tonight, but then as we head through the overnight hours, those flip around to come out of the northwest. So keep an eye out, especially from those open and rural areas, to see for any of that potential for blowing and drifting. Snow will slowly taper off as we head through the night tonight, but wind picking back up, eventually gusting near 30 miles per hour from the northwest. And those will then start to ease as we head through the middle of the day on Sunday. Right around 30 degrees for the afternoon high temperatures, snow showers early on, but then really turning cold to follow that. Higher pressure starts to move overhead, and with the fresh snowpack in place, look at some of these overnight lows for the next week or so. Sunday night, 5 degrees. Monday night, 9. Couple of teens in there, but it's going to be really cold for many of these overnights. So that snowpack not going anywhere anytime soon. A few of our afternoon highs may push at least briefly into the 20s and near 30 degrees. Our next round of some snow moves in for the early part of Monday evening, and then another round on Wednesday. Both of those look somewhat lighter in nature compared to what we have seen as of late, but we will have to keep an eye on the potential for at least some additional accumulating snow, possibly in the neighborhood of a few inches either of those times. 30 degrees for Sunday, 21 then on Monday with that chance for snow, drying out for Tuesday. Another round returning then on Wednesday. Overnight lows on one side or the other of those 20s. Thursday, though, that's the coldest one. We could be seeing highs in the teens.
Thanks, Jordan. Drew's in next with sports. High school football is done for our local teams in the state line. We now shift our focus to rivalry week in college football world.
Now sports with Drew Collins.
The high school football season is over for our local teams. Now we'll shift our focus to rival week in college football. There's no bigger rival week matchup than the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines. It's been over 1,200 days or 6 years since the last time the Buckeyes beat Michigan, but today that changed. Julian Sand threw 3 touchdowns and over 200 yards through the snow. The Buckeyes defense held Michigan to only 3 field goals on the day and scoreless in the second half. It was chippy throughout, but Ryan Day finally takes down Michigan and did so in dominant fashion. The Buckeyes win this one 27-9. Let's continue the trend with Minnesota hosting the Gophers. The Gophers got out to a 10-point lead. Wisconsin did score right before the half. Check out the beautiful pass and catch. And just like many other games today, it was snowy and cold, of course. But that was the only score for the Badgers in the entire game. While Minnesota tacked on 7 more points in the second half, the Badgers fall 17-7. They finish the season with only 4 wins. It's the most losses they've had in a season since 1990, and they'll miss a second straight bowl season. It has never been a better time to be a Bears fan. When your head coach is getting shirtless in a celebration after a win, I just think that speaks volume. Ben Johnson and the Bears took down the Super Bowl champs yesterday, and the vibes have never been this high, maybe ever, in the Chicago Bears franchise. Chicago is now 9-3 and in second place in the entire NFC.
These guys should feel pretty good about what they just did. You know, it's hard to go on the road and beat a good team like that. And yet, I think they still know we have got to get back to work next week.
The Chicago Bulls faced Jordan's Pacers, and the Pacers won 103-101. Siakam iced the game with a nice mid-range buzzer beater. And tomorrow, the Blackhawks will host Cole's Anaheim Ducks. Puck drop for that one is at 2:30. The Ice Hogs were supposed to face the Admirals tonight in Milwaukee, but that game has been moved until tomorrow because of the weather. As of right now, puck drop should be at 4 o'clock. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Well, we're finally getting into the Christmas spirit here at Eyewitness News.
Yeah, and it's feeling like it. The state football wasn't too shabby. The snow held off. It was a bit cold, but lots of sunlight. Not so much today. I don't think I've been outside much, but I just know there's a lot of snow
they had
out there.
to postpone the second day of those football games that would have been today,
right,
because of all that snowfall. So unfortunately, no football weather. That's like the epitome of football weather is when you're talking about playing in the snow. Wisconsin and Minnesota, they got that action in,
right?
But state high school football, they weren't able to do that today.
I was shocked.
A little disappointed.
I think it's mostly because of travel, not so much the snow. But it would have been awesome games to have 4 to 6 inches of snow plus maybe more, and have that high school state game, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and then we're talking about things looking a lot colder as we head then into this next week. So if they have to play anytime later on in the week, likely going to be a lot colder than even what you had to go to yesterday morning. 30 degrees for Sunday, snow starting to taper off early on, but still a bit breezy, so blowing and drifting snow may still be a concern. A light chance for snow then Monday and Wednesday, but look at some of those overnight lows down in the single digits.
That's our show. Thanks for joining us and have a good night.